Hi again, folks. How's all doing? Here we go with episode 6 of In the Shed. Let's see what I've been up to recently. First up is this Lima Class 55 sent to me by Richard on behalf of his son Freddie. This was a model I actually repaired for Freddie a wee while ago, but Richard said it had started running a bit intermittently and seemed to have a problem with the wiring. On examination, the wiring connections were okay, but they were hanging by a thread a bit, so I resoldered them. The main problem was actually the front bogie, which wasn't picking up current properly. Somehow the spring inside the bogie that maintains the tension to the pickups had become compressed. So I stretched it back out to ensure the pickups did their job, gave the motor a quick service, and it runs fine now. Freddie can now run this on his layout again. These old Lima diesels are perfect for younger chaps like Freddie, and I really hope he runs this model for many years to come. This Bachmann A4 Merlin was sent to me by Trevor, who said it seemed to have a problem with the centre drive wheels on curves. As I suspected, the drive axle was split, so had to be replaced. Just the usual business with old split chassis Bachmanns. The model also had a screw missing from the rear pony truck, so I fitted a replacement and also reconnected the wires to the pickups on the pony truck. They have a tendency to disconnect, and to be honest, the model won't be affected by them one way or the other, really. But I always think, the more pickups you have, the better. A chap called Bob asked if he could send me a wee job lot of old locomotives he inherited from his father-in-law. I'm always a wee bit wary of job lots of old locomotives because they're invariably old models that have been subject to extreme jiggery faffery over the years, and these were no exception. There's a B12, two 060 tanks, a Triang Princess, a King Class, and a Duchess of Sutherland. I looked at the B12 first and found it full of lead. Adding a little extra weight to a model is a good idea generally, but you can overdo it. So I removed all the lead, serviced the locomotive, replaced one of the wheel bushes because it was a bit loose, rewired it, remagnetized it, and fitted a front buffer. The model looks to have been painted green at some point, but it runs okay now. The Ginty was actually okay and didn't seem to have been messed around with, just needed a good clean up and service. I removed the traction tyres from the middle wheels as they were rotten, and the model just ran better without them. The Southern E2 needed the same treatment as the Ginty. The wheels appeared to be from a Horby Thomas, or maybe the entire chassis was and the body had just been swapped. I repainted the wheels to match the body benter and tidy it up a bit. The Trying Princess had loose wheels on the front bogie and on closer inspection appeared to have had the middle drive wheel swapped out with wheels that were really a bit too big for some reason. I managed to get hold of a replacement pair of drive wheels, and all it really needed then was a good service, rewire, and a remagnetise. The King class was a real Frankenstein model made up of bits and bobs from other models, but was also missing its front bogie completely. The tender appears to have had the motor swapped out with an old silver seal or Fleischmann motor, or the tender body's been swapped out or something. The weights had been removed and some lead used in its place. I actually slithered about declaring this model scrap, but I got hold of a replacement front bogie, serviced the motor and got it going again. Had a bit of trouble with the rods. One of them was twisted, causing the wheels to lock up, and no matter how I tried to straighten it, I couldn't get it sorted. So I replaced the rod with a spare, and that solved it. The Duchess of Sutherland appeared to be in a bit of a sorry state, but the only thing it really needed, other than a good clean-up and service, was a new tender frame. The old one was broken and missing its drawbar hook. Bob's father-in-law had done some extreme jiggery-faffery to couple the locomotive and tender together using a bolt, washers, nuts, and a spring and a bit of wire, just using whatever he had to hand and being creative, which is fun to see, but I wanted to correct it. I removed all that and managed to obtain a replacement tender frame. I could only get hold of a black one, not a maroon one, but I don't think it really matters. I gave the motor a service, cleaned up the wheels, rods, valve gear, axles, and chassis. The contact in the drawbar was very loose, so I drilled a hole through it and fitted a screw just to stop it from wiggling about. However, at this point, I had a wee disaster. The socket on the pony truck that the tender hooks into broke off. I couldn't see any evidence of any mazoc rot or anything, so maybe it was cracked or something, but it just kind of came away in my hands. Fortunately, I was able to get a replacement pony truck on eBay, so problem solved. It had the same problem with the loose contact on the drawbar, so I screwed that one as well. And now this old Duchess of Sutherland is running again. It took me a while to work through this job lot, but got there in the end. This old Horby Black 5 was sent to me by Michael, clearly a Frankenstein model with an LMS tender coupled with a BR body. The body actually has a chunk missing from the cab, which is a shame. The locomotive had a pickup fitted and the wrong sort of drawbar that someone had tried to insulate. One of the centre wheel spindles on the tender had been broken and crudely repaired, and it looked to me as if the rods on the locomotive were a bit bent and twisted. So I serviced the motor, repaired the centre wheel spindle with epoxy, although ideally this could do with a new motor casing. I removed the drawbar and fitted a spare tender drive drawbar, and I then removed the pickup from the locomotive and swapped the wheels around so it would collect current through the chassis, through the drawbar to the motor. This is another model that was kind of looking into the abyss of the scrap box, but it's running now. Maybe Michael can pick up an LMS body for it. This old Trang Britannia was sent to me by Dan. He was the chap who donated Johnny Walker and some HST coaches to me. This used to belong to his father-in-law when he was a young lad, and he asked if I could possibly get it running again. Really, all it needed was a good service, clean up and remagnetised. I did have to replace the motion bracket, which was broken. Fortunately, you can get 3D printed spares of these. But like any old Trang model, it's a bit noisy and a bit clumsy on modern track, but Dan just wanted to have it in running condition again. I'm sure it'll last another 50 years. And finally, Dan also sent me this Hornby HST. He got this brand new as a Christmas present. Unfortunately, it was involved in a disastrous derailment event and ended up tumbling 4 feet onto the floor. Amazingly, it didn't suffer too much visible damage, but one of the power bogies came apart and one or two other detail parts came off. Dan sort of managed to get it back together, but wasn't sure where this brass part went. Looked like a bearing or a ferrule of some sort to me. On opening it up, it was apparent that this was a bearing that should fit in front of the worm gear and is held in place by the gearbox cover. These bearings are normally square externally to prevent them turning, and they're certainly square on the service sheet for this model. But I fitted it back in place, glued in the loose seat and detail parts, and it's fine. None the worse for its gravitational impact. A problem for me looking at this model was that it's so much nicer than my old Ringfield driven HSTs. I really would like to get one of these at some point, but I really want the ScotRail livery one. They're very expensive though. Dan actually lives in Canada, and I was to send this back to his father-in-law in England, but he surprised me by offering me the chance to buy this from him as he had acquired a replacement in the interim. I was very tempted, and I have had to think about it for a couple of days, but I have to say my heart is set on a ScotRail one. So I declined the offer and sent this back to Dan's father-in-law, who will be putting this up for sale on eBay if he hasn't done already. So there we go, that's some of the other locomotives I've been working on recently. There's been a few others that I didn't bother filming. Sometimes, for various reasons, I just don't film them, usually just because I forget or can't be bothered. But yeah, we shall see what comes my way over the next few weeks, and see you in episode 7. Catch us later, folks.